All right, Adam, let's get into our power rankings.
Let's get into it.
The teams that missed the playoffs this year that could do what the Phoenix Suns did in the next couple of years. So, like you mentioned, the Suns had the worst record in the league 2 years ago, and now
in the West, in the West,
and now they're in the NBA Finals.
Happened quick. It was a quick glow up.
Man.
And even last year, of course, they had that great bubble run, but they did miss out on the playoffs. And then now here they are in the final. So it's quick turnaround. It's a diamond hiding in plain sight. And I'm going to be honest with you here, Nick. There's only one team that really, I think, like realistically, if you told me they won the championship next year or even 2 years from now, I would actually believe it. So these are all a stretch. And we'll start off with honorable mention. There are none.
No honorable mentions.
No honorable mentions.
Not even like the Timberwolves or something like that?
Well, Timberwolves are going to be on my list here. So number 5, I've got the Chicago Bulls. And I'll be honest, I would be shocked if they were good within the next 2 years, like championship level teams the next 2 years. The only reason I put them on my list is they do have one guy who I think could have a Devin Booker-like ascent, who's been great, but he's got the Devin Booker tag where it's like he's great, but always on a bad team. And that's, of course, Zach LaVine, who's just scores as efficiently and on volume as any young guard in the NBA. And look, could he lead a team? You get one or two little trades, or one guy appears out of nowhere that really goes takes the next step, and now he has a running mate like Patrick Williams, for example. I could see it. So I'm not buying it, but it wouldn't completely blow me away if the Chicago Bulls turn the corner.
Interesting. On the Chicago, I had them at 5 as well. On mine.
Oh, look at us. We have consensus here. I like it.
They at least have 2 all-stars, right? Like you're at least starting in a decent spot. Patrick Williams can be something like you said.
When I was doing this exercise, I'm not going to lie, Vucevic isn't there. I don't know. I just have a hard time picturing him as the second best guy on that team. But
imagine him in red. It's always blue, right? Like just every time you think about him, you think about him.
But they're another team that, like the Suns, they had all the injuries. Like, they were better than what their record was this year. They probably should have been a play-in team or maybe even a playoff team, but they just had so many things go wrong to them after the trade with COVID and injuries that maybe they are a little bit better than we think. So when if they make a leap this offseason, it'll feel like 2 leaps, but it really shouldn't have been. Number 4, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Another team that I think is significantly better than what their record stands, 23-49, pretty bad record. But they do have Karl-Anthony Towns, and they do have Anthony Edwards. They already have 2 guys that could be, in my opinion, like all-star caliber players as early as, a season or 2 from now. And you add that to, I guess they don't have their pick, right? It went to Golden State. But you just add that, still have D'Angelo Russell. Not sure what other players you look at that you think are close to a big breakout. I don't think there is one, but
McDaniels is a guy that came on pretty strong at the end of the year, and somebody. Malik Beasley is a guy that like a spark plug off the bench type dude.
Yeah, Beasley I could see maybe making a leap, probably not, but but they do have D'Angelo Russell, who I don't think they're looking to trade, but I wouldn't, he's a max contract. So everybody's favorite trades for Ben Simmons is, D'Angelo Russell, a package around D'Angelo Russell and for Ben Simmons. And look, hey man, Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, you got some Ben Simmons, it could work.
That'd be an interesting one. Yeah, Towns is maybe one of the best players that that could be on this list. One of them,
probably.
There's not too many, right? It's like him and obviously the player on the number 1 team.
Yeah, we'll get there. Did you have them on your list, by the way?
I thought about them. It's just the West, man. The West is so hard.
True.
It's hard for me to imagine a team like that rising up. But the Suns just did it. So the other thing that's interesting in this is the team has to be able to acquire a talent like a Chris Paul.
Right.
They have to do something like they have to put something together where they can acquire an all NBA talent. And it's just really hard. And I don't know if the Timberwolves are in a position, especially without their pick this year, to do something like that.
That's a great point. You're probably right on this one. Number 3 for me, the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, Zion Williamson, let's be honest, he easily could be the best player on a championship team. I don't think there's much question about that. I haven't loved what I've seen. Zion Williamson? I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
You don't think he could be the best player on a championship contender?
I don't know about easily. Like, hold on. Like, easily. Like, who are the best players on a championship team that can't shoot a 3, right? Like,
but I mean, he's like Shaq. Nobody can guard him. I mean, how many games in a row did he have 20 points? Like,
I know, but but like, is he going to be Giannis when we get to the when we get to the playoffs? Right? We just haven't seen him in that scenario yet. So I'm curious if that's the way
Yeah,
teams.
it's fair.
I'm not saying he can't be. I'm just saying you said easily, and I'm pushing back on that. But yeah,
All
continue
right,
on.
okay, it's fair. I mean, it's the same with Minnesota, where we look at it, we're like, Towns is so good, Anthony Edwards is so good, but the playoffs are different. When teams start actually game planning and everything and taking away your best stuff, like it's completely different.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards looks pretty good when nobody cares about playing the Timberwolves. They're like,
That's so true.
easy win, right?
That's so true. So you got New Orleans. I think you look at Brandon Ingram. The biggest piece for them is, a new coach coming in, and it could have a Monty Williams-like effect. I think they've had some not great coaches. Alvin Gentry, I think, had his day. He was a good coach. I don't know if he was the right coach for that team. Of course, Van Gundy clearly wasn't. So maybe they get a coach in there that all of a sudden just unlocks Brandon Ingram, maybe Lonzo Ball if he comes back. To me, they're head and shoulders above the previous two, but also head and shoulders behind the top two.
Yeah, they got a couple guys that could pop too. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Kyra Lewis, even like Jackson Hayes, I guess, could still have some breakout potential there. He's a young. He's only 20 years old, so he's still got
breakout role player potential. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, role player for sure. Right.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that Eric Bledsoe contract, though, man. That's Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams. 2 more years on their deal, and they're just making a combined almost $40 million. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
Oof.
Number 2.
I don't want to be here.
Number 2, the Toronto Raptors.
Oh.
Well, first of all, they just won 2 years ago.
Right.
And I know they had Kawhi Leonard. It's a big piece. I'm not going to discount it. And I know Kyle Lowry. Maybe he's out of there. It sounds like he probably is. But you still have Siakam and Van Fleet. That's like solid pieces. You got OG Anunoby, another solid piece. They did just get this number 4 pick, which projects to be a very good player or a very good trade chip. So they have and look, it's Masai Ujiri. He's never really gone through a full rebuild anywhere he's been. It's like Pat Riley. Every time you think, they're going to have to tear it down and build up again, they flip it immediately and they're back. So I think Toronto, again, I'm not counting on them. There's only one team I actually think legitimately has a chance to win it next year or the year after. But Toronto is a team that I would not be surprised if by the start of next season, they are meaningfully different. Gary Trent, by the way, another guy who I like, who has some upside. I wouldn't be surprised if they were meaningfully different and really good. Oh, Chris Boucher as well.
I have the Raptors at number 1.
Whoa!
Because I'm going back, I'm dipping back into this well. They're in the East. The Hawks just made the Eastern Conference Finals. Like after they have like 4 players that just got drafted like within the last 2 years that are playing meaningful minutes for them. This team already has a champion. They've already been in the championship, right? They have Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry. If Kyle Lowry comes back, that's a backcourt that you can plug and play. Yeah. OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, like those guys already have won a title, and so then you can just. Nick Nurse is a title-winning coach. You add a little bit of talent here. You take that 4th pick and something else, and then all of a sudden you infuse some talent into this team, and boom, they're right back into it. Plus, I went and looked at their roster, and there were 72 games this past season, right? Like every team played the same amount of games this year. We don't have to try and count like last season. 52 games for Fred VanVleet, 56 for Siakam, 46 for Kyle Lowry, 43 for OG Anunoby. Norman Powell, 42. He got traded. Chris Boucher, 60 games. Like he was their Iron Man, and he played 60 games. Still missed 12 games.
Wow.
So if all these guys start playing, maybe this is a team that made the playoffs this past year, and they were really close to it at certain points in the season last year. So yeah, this is my number 1 team, with the East being like the grade on a curve situation.
Yeah, man, you might have talked me into it, Nick. To be honest, you've more talked me into the fact that this team could like really just flip it really quickly and turn it around. And I really like Gary Trent Jr. and I like his fit there. So, he's another guy. And Masai's just not afraid to take big swings, man. He pulls them off as well. But come on, the number 1 team, it's clearly got to be the Golden State Warriors. We forget about the dynasty that is only 2 years old. It's only been gone for 2 years, injury-riddled years. But Steph Curry, he's back. Klay Thompson, he's back. Draymond Green, he's back. And then you've got Wiseman. You've got Andrew Wiggins to make that salary match. You've got the number 7 pick. You've got the number 14 pick. Wiseman 7 and 14, some team is going to want that package. And if they happen to have a player that fits perfectly alongside them, I'm sorry. That Warriors team already took the Lakers down to the wire in their play-in game. They already were a team that everybody was afraid to play. Not that they didn't think they couldn't beat them in a playoffs, but Steph Curry could always go off. They get back together. I just think next year the Warriors are going to be a problem. And I think that Wiseman 7 and 14, I would not at all be surprised if that turned into a high caliber starter to kind of complete a foursome, to get back to a death lineup type lineup.
Oh, for sure. No, the Warriors are number 2 on my list for sure. Klay Thompson, huge wild card to me. Like coming back from injuries like that. But we just saw Kevin Durant come back and look like didn't even miss a beat almost. He was a little slower, I guess, if you want to consider that. But he doesn't really move that fast anyway. Klay Thompson moves a lot. But man, that team outside of those guys though, they got to make some moves. They got to do something with some of these guys. Like Kevon Looney's coming back, like good for him.
Right.
Other than that, like
Jordan Poole,
sure. You're like, man, it would really suck and win there on that bench. And
I don't know. I'm just saying, if you have your Juan Toscano Anderson, like if you have your main guys, you just need guys that are capable of doing a role. And I think they have 3 of them.
Yeah,
They have Poole, they've got Lee, they've got Pascal, Poole,
Looney.
Pascal, and Toscano Anderson. Looney, like, okay, him too. Like that's a different type of role. But the guys that I think, you look at the Phoenix Suns, and they got contributions from Saric and Cam Johnson and Cam Payne. Like, I think that I look at those other guys and think, could they have an impact like that? Maybe. And the top end talent between Steph, Clay, and Draymond, and whoever it is that they could trade those pieces if that's the route they want to go. That's a really good team to me. I am picking the Warriors next year to be one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the NBA.
Okay. He's going back to it. He's feeling it. Yeah. If they do make a move with that, if they do package Wiseman in those 2 draft picks and decide to get somebody, I don't know who they could get, but they do that, then yeah, this team could be right back in it. And they will be anyway. This team was also like an incredible defensive team last year without Klay Thompson. And hopefully Klay Thompson comes back and he's healthy and he adds to that. And James Wiseman gets a little better with a year, under his belt. And so yeah, that team's definitely going to be right back.
Where's Damian Lillard from? I forgot.
Right? Oakland.
Oh, wait, that's right. He is. Interesting.
What would they do with Damian Lillard and Curry? Who takes the final shot?
And Clay.
Coming up, I'm going to tell you why. Damian Lillard will take the final shot on the Warriors.
I don't think that deal's going to happen. I'm just throwing out. This time of year. I've done this now 7 years. I've been covering the league 7 years. And every time right during the finals, you're looking around and you're like, we know how free agency and the trade market's going to go. It's going to be this guy, this guy. Right. And then it always triples. By the time it actually comes around, 5 more players get traded that you didn't see coming. And
the Nets, who saw the Nets coming?
Right. This stuff pops up, man. It just pops up.
There you go. That's our power ranking. Teams that missed the playoffs this past year that could make a finals next year or even the year after that. That's our list. Go subscribe to Locked On Nuggets, Locked On Mavs. Good offseason stuff coming every single day and through Summer League, I guess, through August. So we'll continue on that on our podcast. Go follow Adam. Follow me at Nick Van Exit. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA. Boom.